I started experimenting with drugs by swiping her Vicodin and morphine whenever I had a chance. Eventually, she caught on, and I was already hooked on the feeling of being numb and self medicating. I started onto heroin. My addiction started to get the better of me, and I couldn't hide it anymore. My family sought to try to help me. This was an extremely hard time for me, though, because my father had just passed on, and I knew I had a problem, but was not ready. So rather than getting help, I left and I moved 1,000 miles away, cut contact with most of my family, thinking if they didn't have to see me or if I wasn't around them, maybe they'd just forget about me. I found a new group of friends, a group of people that appeared as damaged as I was, with similar coping techniques. I would say self-destructive things, such as my best friends give me the best poisons. I was clearly trying to escape reality. To fund my habit, I would sell dope and go on boosting sprees justifying that the places I stole from had insurance and they weren't actually losing anything. On one such spree, I had a falling out with my driver over a small dope baggie in the parking lot of a store I had just got done robbing. They, of course, kicked me out of the car before I could grab anything. They were gone. I was suddenly in a distant city with no phone, no way back to the place I called home. I waited there for 2 days, thinking foolishly that they might come back. And after 2 days, I did something I hadn't done in years. I knelt down and I prayed. I prayed that my Father in heaven guide me home and bring me back to the people who cared about me. I then asked a stranger which way to the coast. I was in Central Oregon, and I had no idea which way to go. They pointed me down a highway, and I started walking, thinking I might be able to hitchhike. After what had felt like forever walking, I was extremely thirsty and more dope sick than I'd ever been in years. I looked off the highway and spotted a garage that was open, so I made my way over, and when I spotted the keys to a car, I completely forgot about my thirst and thought this was the Lord delivering me a blessing to get back. I managed to make it a couple of towns over before crashing the car in a police chase and getting arrested. At the time, I was filled with doubt and anger to God and blamed Him for me messing up so badly. However, looking back, this was the greatest reality check. I needed this. It was a break from the dope and the lifestyle that put a spark and change in my heart. I eventually made it back to the coast because of a stranger that I had met in jail. And when I got back to the coast, I started doing exactly what I had done before. Only difference was I was going to jail every other month for violations and other stupid things. Every time I went to jail, I would read a little more of the good word, meet more people of faith. But every time I got out, I'd forget about all my promises I made to myself and God. That would change and wouldn't go back to jail. During one stay in jail, I received a letter from an old friend whom I trusted and I known had freed himself from the bondage of the dope life. He spoke of a place I could get clean and get my PO off my back. Even though we hadn't spoken in a very long time, I was sold. I made the phone call and told my friend I was interested. Planned for him to pick me up the day after I got released so I could say goodbye to some people. Of the people I called friends, some were happy, some were sad, but they all told me they were proud. I didn't know at the time what they were proud for, because I hadn't even done anything yet. I was told later it was because I had taken the first step in bettering myself, that so many people never get the chance to or never even try to. These feelings helped motivate me to push me out of my comfort levels. From what I was familiar with, when I first arrived, I was not accustomed to sleeping in a proper bed anymore. I was not used to other people's rules. The first few months were definitely the hardest. I constantly had the urge to take off and go back to the streets where I thought I could live free. I, of course, didn't follow through with leaving and just entrusting the process over time. Things got easier. I found a great church that welcomed me in. I was introduced to a great mentor who always had great wisdom. Over time, I became more comfortable, and this place turned from just a shelter into a home. As for trusting the process and giving up to God's will, I still struggle with accepting His path, rather than the one I want. However, I'm no longer on paper, and now I've been confident enough to start talking with my family again. So I know He is truly amazing. This only happened because of His guidance. I now look back to when I was in a distant land, far away from what I was familiar with, and prayed to my Father in heaven. I look around and see He has answered my prayers. I am home and surrounded by loved ones. I want to say a special thank you to Adam for helping me stay and follow through whenever I would waver. I want to say thank you to Jesse Zentz for always having time for me and amazing wisdom to dispense whenever we met. I want to thank all the staff here at the Union Gospel Mission for always having time to listen and putting up with me for last year. Thank you, and may the Lord bless you as He has me.